The President of the United States is prepared today to sign into law a new budget deal. The budget deal is not good. There's a lot of garbage in this budget deal. Conservative Review has a great piece by Daniel Horowitz going through what exactly is in this budget deal. He says the process is indefensible. It is immoral from any ideological perspective to vote on an 1,100-page omnibus with new provisions on immigration amid a border crisis, which of course is true. I've talked at length before about how I think it violates the very nature of constitutional government to provide massive omnibus packages to the president. Every bill was supposed to be designed separately. Every bill was supposed to come up for a vote, and then the president had the ability to veto. The reason that the line item veto even became an issue over the last 30, 40 years is because Congress routinely would put together crap sandwiches and then tell the president to either sign the crap sandwich or veto the crap sandwich. That's not how bills used to work. So what exactly is in this thing? Well, according to Daniel Horowitz over at CR, who has a really good review of it, he says less of a wall than even what Democrats agreed to. Trump originally demanded $25 billion for the wall. Then he negotiated himself down to $5.6 billion. Democrats balked and only agreed to $1.6 billion. This bill calls it a day at $1.375 billion, enough to construct 55 miles. But it's worse than that. The bill limits the president's ability to construct barriers to just the Rio Grande Valley sector and only bollard fencing, not concrete walls of any kind. There's no ability to adapt. In fact, this provision is so strong that it's leading people to believe that Trump may not even be able to use a national emergency to overcome it, meaning that if the bill itself restricts the ability to construct barriers to just a particular area, that's actually a solid legal basis for saying the president doesn't have national emergency power to construct wall other places. Because the way that we read law in the judiciary is that last in time is first in priority. So if Congress passes two bills, one in 1960 and one yesterday, and the one yesterday overrules the one in 1960, then the courts will read it that way. So if the National Emergencies Act of 1976 says the president can declare a national emergency and build a wall, which again is even questionable, we'll get to that. But even if it said that, if a bill yesterday came out and said, we will not allow the president to build wall other than in this small area, the bill yesterday trumps the National Emergencies Act of 1976. Second thing that's wrong with the budget, according to Daniel Horowitz, liberal local officials will have veto power over the wall. He says it's likely that not a single mile of fence will be built. Section 232A of the bill says prior to use of any funds made available by this act for the construction of physical barriers, the Department of Homeland Security shall confer and reach mutual agreement regarding the design and alignment of physical barriers within that city. They have to consult the local elected officials. This is why they've limited the wall to the Rio Grande Valley. These are the most liberal borders these are the most liberal counties on the borders. What are the consequences? The bill stipulates such consultations shall continue until September 30th, 2019, and may be extended beyond that date by agreement of the parties, and no funds made available in this act should be used for construction while consultations are continuing, which means Trump can't build any wall at least until September, and maybe beyond because he has to consult with all of these liberal authorities. Third, the bill contains a blatant amnesty for the worst cartel smugglers. Section 224A prohibits the deportation of anyone who is sponsoring an unaccompanied minor illegal alien, or who says they might sponsor an unaccompanied minor illegal alien, or lives in a household with an unaccompanied minor illegal alien, or a household that might potentially sponsor an unaccompanied minor illegal alien. So we are now using children being trafficked across the border as an excuse not to arrest illegal immigrants in the country who may apply as a sponsor, or anyone in the household applying as a sponsor. Jessica Vaughn of the very anti-immigration Center for Immigration Studies, she says we can call this the MS-13 Household Protection Act of 2019. We know that 80% of UAC sponsors, that's unaccompanied children, are in the country illegally. The number of people this would protect would reach into the hundreds of thousands if all the potential or household or potential household members are counted. And fourth, the budget bill contains more funding to manage and induce the invasion rather than to deter it. There is no new funding for ICE deportation agents. It does add another $40 million for the Alternatives to Detention program, which moves asylum seekers to facilities in the interior of the country where they're usually released. That's catch and release. And finally, it doubles low-skilled workers. It doubles the number of H-2B non-agricultural unskilled seasonal workers who will continue to be a public charge on America, according to Daniel Horowitz. That's just a cursory glance through the bill. So there's a bunch of problems with the bill itself.